dual grid detector. I don't know a whole lot. I read an article about it. Is in the Two Lore 2 book by Ludwell Sidley. From what it said in there, it only was used a few times, and then in just a few applications during the 30s, and then it was replaced. Sonny knows a little more about it than I do, and then he also knows there are some other articles and some other books about the, he has some other examples. Also, there's a couple of versions. The consumer radios were normally at a filament of 2.5 volts, and then they also made an auto version that was at 6.3. And then beyond that, I don't know a whole lot of other details or technical information about it. Did anyone else bring in a Wunderlich detector today? Other than Sonny has a couple, and he wanted to talk about those.
Are you going to let Sid?
Sonny, did you want to talk about it? Yeah. No, I'm not going to let Sid hold it.
Well, I'm no expert on the Wunderlich tube, and I didn't make any effort to do a big lot of research on it. But when I heard about Mike bringing it up, I got what information I know about, and I'll present that to you. I do have a couple of examples of the Wunderlich tube.
Okay, sure.
And I have this book, which is a wonderful book if you like to collect early tubes. This covers tubes from the beginning to in through the 20s, maybe early 30s, which the Wunderlich tube was developed in the early 30s. And I'm going to give you what information is in this book about the Wunderlich tube, which isn't much.
Absolutely, yeah, that's what I have.
What's this number? There were several Wunderlich tubes. There's a type A, which is a dual grid tube, and it comes in the 5-pin version, which fits a standard UI, UX, or UI socket, the old big pin type socket. And then there's two versions of the type A, and the difference between the two is one has a what we refer to as a grid cap or a plate cap on the top, although it is not a grid or a plate cap. It's a cathode cap. And from some articles I've seen, and I didn't have time to dig up any of them, there were articles in some of the early radio books of how you could modify your radio using the Wunderlich tube. And so it was made to fit a standard socket, and if you had a radio with a circuit that had a top cap, you could modify that to do whatever you wanted, such as become your cathode. And what it says here in this book is the Wunderlich is named for the inventor, Norman E. Wunderlich. It was developed by Arcturus and announced in May 1932 as a special detector for AC line operating receivers having AVC. In 1933, the H. Scott All-Wave 12 was one of the few manufacturers of radios to use this tube. It is a dual grid triode, similar and replaceable by the Sylvania Type 29 or Kinride Type 92. And the reason for two different bases is unknown. Anyway, I'm not going to go into all the specs on it, but they also made an automobile version, which Mike already mentioned. And it was, the only difference in it was it had a 6.3 volt filament. However, on the next page, there's a Wunderlich Type B, and it shows a tube with dual grids, a top cap, in which in this case, the top cap is a second plate, which I would assume would be used for whatever you want to use it for. Anyway, that's basically all I know about the Wunderlich tube. It's an interesting tube, very colorful, very pretty. And I will add that I had a receiver once that had a Wunderlich tube in it, and it was a Sylvania or a Stuart Warner, but it had not only a Wunderlich tube in it, but it had two chassis, two separate independent chassis. One was for shortwave, and one was for standard broadcast reception. And then the shortwave receiver, it used the Wunderlich tube, and it was factory made, not modified. They called for that in the circuit. So there are now two known receivers that use the Wunderlich tube.
Great, thanks. And what was your amplifier that it was in, Pat?
Rattle.
Radolec. Okay, all right. It was made in the early 30s then, or do you know?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Is Mark Dinsmore here?
Mark Dinsmore.
Is he-
Okay, maybe I don't see him. Okay, so that's all we have. We're gonna go ahead and get some photos of the tube for the month, and then we will have another tube of the month for January. And so that's all I've got.
Okay, thanks, Mike. I'm sorry that the meeting has gone longer than usual.